So you're considering starting your own law practice. Now, before we go any further, I'm going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to stop and ask yourself some questions, because starting your own law practice is probably going to be much harder work. It's going to be more expensive and more stressful than you can imagine or would have thought. Certainly for me, when I opened my own law practice back in 2001, I had zero idea what I was getting myself into. Oh my gosh, and I mean zero. If I knew then what I know now, would I have done the same thing? Would I have made the same decision? Probably, eventually. However, I would have approached it much differently, which is why I want you to consider if opening your own practice is for you. So before we get into the 10 things you want to do so that you can avoid making embarrassing, costly, expensive, stressful mistakes, I want you to consider the potential risks. What I'm saying is, don't think that you're just going to be able to float along and have absolutely everything go swimmingly for you. It's going to be challenging. However, there are things that you can do about those challenges to make it very rewarding. So ask yourself, are you up for the task? Also, ask yourself, do I have an employee mindset? What do I mean by that? Well, typically, people are an employee, they show up for a certain amount of hours and they're guaranteed to make a certain amount of money based upon their hours or their billable time or whatever it is that has you be compensated. Well, if you open up your own practice, not all of your time is going to be compensated dollar for dollar. In fact, as you're building out your practice, a lot of it's not going to be compensated for. Starting your own law practice might also not be for you if you are terrified about financial risk. Practicing law is expensive. Opening up a law practice can be expensive, even if you are someone who is really good about money. You want to make sure that you have the stomach for at least some financial risk. Starting your own practice might not be for you if you are the kind of person who will not put yourself out there. What do I mean by that? If you are the kind of person who will not do any marketing, will not tell anybody that you've opened up your practice, that is content to stay behind a closed door, never reaching out to colleagues, doing any marketing, showing up anywhere, well, maybe if that's you, opening your own law practice might not be for you, because once you open up your own practice, you want to make sure that your potential clients are going to find you. This goes back to the employee mindset. If you are only prepared to work 20 and at the outside 40 hours a week ever, starting your own law practice might not be for you, at least at the beginning. The point being is you might have to put in some additional time, energy, effort that goes beyond the regular work week. In fact, it also might not be for you if you have very limited resources. And when I mean very limited resources, that you don't have access to any capital, any lines of credit, that you don't have additional time. For example, if you are a single parent with 3 children, maybe this might not be the time to start your law practice if you're going to know that you're going to have to put in those additional hours. So think about your resources and think about the timing for you in your life. So ask yourself these questions. Do I have any tolerance for financial risk? Am I willing to put myself out there? Am I willing to work more than a 40-hour work week, at least for a while? Am I willing to move past an employee mindset? If the answer to those questions is yes, well, maybe opening your own law practice is what you want to do. So let me share with you 10 really powerful tips that are going to help you, what I wish I knew when I started my own law practice back in 2001. Essentially, starting your own law practice, you want to focus on 4 things. Number 1, you want to focus on marketing. When I say marketing, I mean how you are attracting clients to your firm. So clients who need your help want your help can find you. Another area when starting your own practice is you want to be efficient. You want to put efficiencies in everywhere that you can to ensure that things go swimmingly. Not only for you, but for your clients and your employees if you have them. Also, you want to make sure that when you're starting your own practice that you are focusing on having really satisfied clients and that you have methods for making your clients your raving fans. And you want to utilize those happy clients to allow you to create more business. And more on that later. So you want to make sure you've got that great marketing strategy, be exceptionally efficient, have really happy clients, but also, and again, I did say that you might count on putting in some extra work, at least at the beginning, extra time, at least in the beginning, but you want to make sure that you are absolutely bullish about taking charge of your time and ensuring that you protect it for the benefit of you, your health, your family, your future, your finances, all of it. So let's dive into those 10 tips so that you don't make painful, embarrassing, expensive, terrible mistakes. The first mistake you want to avoid is you don't want to do what I did. What I did, well, it was back in the olden days, 2001, like I said, people still used phone books. I had this phone book ad and it said I did family law, personal injury, motor vehicle accidents, debtor, creditor, everything under the sun. Well, the thing is that, well, what you want to do is you don't want to say that you do everything under the sun because how will you stand out? We always use the brain surgeon analogy. If you need brain surgery, are you going to go to a general physician? Absolutely not. You're going to go to a brain surgeon. Well, if people are, well, going through a divorce or separation, for example, they don't want to go to a jack of all trades. They want to go to somebody who says, yep, family law is my thing, this is what I do, and this is the area of law I'm focusing upon. Unless you live in a very tiny town and there's only one lawyer, one doctor, and I mean really tiny town, which would make sense to say, yeah, I help in all kinds of areas. You want to make sure that you niche, or as Americans say it, niche down to a practice area. It also allows you to get really good at one area so that you're not spread too thin, learning all the law all the time in all the different areas. The second thing you want to do is, well, you don't want to make the marketing mistake that most lawyers make. What do I mean by that? Well, take a look. Just Google lawyers, for example, or Google divorce lawyers right now. Take a look at the marketing imagery. What you'll see is lawyers in their suits looking tough. You will see the scales of justice, the pillars of parliament. Well, the big libraries, the law libraries and behind people, like, how do you know anything about those lawyers? They look exactly the same as every other lawyer. Think about how you're going to stand out in a way that's authentic to you, but you want to be able to stand out. For example, my law firm, Pathway Legal, what we do is, well, we have client care and nurturing as one of our core values. Because of that, we have an office, our physical office location is actually very warm and inviting. Some people say it's almost like a spa in here. Well, the thing is you won't see stuffy libraries, you won't see the pillars of parliament, the scales of justice. You will see on our website, for example, pictures of us laughing and having a good time and goofing around because people don't do business with law libraries. They don't do business with the pillars of parliament. They don't do business with the scales of justice. They do business with lawyers that they can trust, lawyers that are approachable, that they feel connected to. So think about how you are going to stand out in your marketing. The third thing you want to do, and again, this is a big mistake I made, is I didn't have processes or systems or checklists for anything at all. And well, after some pretty big mistakes and stressful situations, what I realized is being really powerful in your law practice when starting your own practice is you want to make sure that you have checklists and systems for everything that you do. Why do you do that? Because you want to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. So for example, with my law firm, when we do an intake, well, there is a system. Person reaches out to us, we send them an email. That email sets out our fees and our process, and then if they say, yeah, I want to do this, then we do the next step, and it all flows very seamlessly, this intake process, which of course has taken a long time to develop, but it works really, really well. And so we have that for everything, for hearings, for four-way meetings, for even if I'm doing a negotiation with another lawyer, I want to make sure that I've covered off all of the elements necessary. It saves mistakes, it inspires your client's confidence in you, and allows them to say, wow, my lawyer really has it together. They know what they're doing next.
Oh, hey, it's me. Interrupting a little bit because I want videos like this to reach more people. So if you are enjoying what you see, if you're finding it helpful, please hit the subscribe button, which is somewhere up there. And also tell me, what was the biggest takeaway you had with respect to this video? Leave it in the comments below and I will answer every comment, every question, because that's what I do.
When starting your own law practice, you want to make sure that you get the best software. What do I mean by that? Well, you want to make sure that the software that you are using is efficient and it increases your law practice's efficiency. For example, our law firm practice management software is Clio. Clio is great. I love Clio. I love Clio so much I'm an affiliate for Clio. What that has allowed us to do is streamline our communications with our clients. It has allowed us to streamline us storing documents electronically so that they are on the encrypted cloud. It has allowed us to bill our clients on a weekly basis so they always know where they stand. It has allowed us to keep track of our conflicts checking system from that started in 2001, so we always know whether or not any lawyer in our firm has represented an opposing party. So you want to make sure you're using the best software. Don't cheap out on this very important element. The next thing you want to do, and this was a big mistake that I made in the past, and unfortunately not in the too far off past, is that you want to make sure that if you do have the software, that you in fact utilize it and use it to its fullest potential if it's great software. So, for example, when my law firm started using Clio in approximately 2020, well, we started using it, but we didn't use it to the fullest extent. We were not maximizing its potential, and it had a lot of potential. We were missing out on tons of opportunities in terms of how to use it to its best result. Of course, Clio had all these training videos, and there was about 8 hours of them. I think, yeah, I should really get around to watching those videos. I should really get around to watching those videos. Of course, it never happened. So ultimately, what did we do? We hired a Clio consultant, and that Clio consultant has helped us maximize Clio to the fullest extent possible. The point being, don't make the mistake I did. You want to make sure you get the great software, but also that you utilize its potential. Another thing that you want to make sure of is that you use a very good website platform. I use Solo Build It. Yes, I think Solo Build It is amazing. They have professionals that help you within their company. My websites are not buggy. They are very fast. They are very well structured to attract clients to my firm. Now, tying into this, don't think you're going to build your own website. As I record this, Solo Build It will have a professional work with you and charge you less than $2,000 to build a really nice, clean site that you can add to over time. So the point is this, make sure you have a great website, make sure it works well. Why am I telling you this? Oh yeah, because I made a terrible mistake. I once decided to go with this web design company, and I thought, wow, I am going to be able to have this really beautiful website. Now, that website cost me a ton of money, and also it was terribly organized in the sense that people would actually Google my law firm's name, Pathway Legal, and my law firm wouldn't even come up in my area. That's how badly optimized it was. It was also extraordinarily slow, very buggy. People couldn't read it on mobile. Wow, it took me a long time to figure that out, but my consultations, my initial new business went boosh, way down because I decided to use an ineffective website platform. So make sure that you use a great website platform, and you also don't build the site yourself. You're never going to get around to it. Make sure you have someone do it for you. And again, I recommend Solo Build It, and yes, I am an affiliate for it. And my websites that I have, Pathway Legal, Be the Best Divorce Lawyer, and the Better Divorce Project, all of them are Solo Build It sites, and they are amazing. Take a look. When starting your own law practice, you do not want to give up this opportunity that is right there, right in front of you, that's going to attract clients to your firm. And what is that? That is optimizing and utilizing Google My Business. What is that? Well, think about it. When you go to a different city and you want to have a pizza, you want to go out for pizza or really great Italian food or really great Mexican foods, what do? You Google it, right? And what happens? Well, the Google map will come up. There might be some ads, but then there's going to be a Google map, and they're going to say, well, you've got this pizzeria here, this Mexican place here, this Greek place here, and you will be able to see reviews for those places, and you will be able to decide whether or not you are going to, well, have a really great meal in a city you don't know very well. Well, the same is true for lawyers. So when you have a Google My Business page, what happens is you set it up, you have an address, and you send that information off to Google. Google will then send you a code. Probably takes a few weeks. Once you get that code, Google will drop what they call a pin on a map, and that pin to the map is going to be your law firm. And your law firm is now going to be able to be found by people using the most powerful search engine in the world. For example, if you Google divorce lawyer, family lawyer, good lawyer, anything like that in my area, our firm always comes up #1 in the organic rankings. What does that mean? It means we don't spend a dime on advertising. What a gift. The 9th thing that you want to do when starting your own law practice is, well, if you do decide to use paid advertising, and Google advertising is a very common one that people use that is paid, make sure that you don't just use Google advertising, paid Google advertising. So this is another mistake I made a very long time ago. I did some Google advertising. We had some clients come through the door. That was great, but the advertising was, well, outside of my budget at the time, so I turned off the advertising. When I turned off the Google paid advertising, what happened? Yes, I turned off my flow of clients. So sure, you might want to invest in some Google advertising, paid Google advertising, but when you are doing that, make sure that you are also paying attention to the organic side, the Google My Business side. Very, very powerful strategy. And finally, I saved the best for last. If you are starting your own law practice, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you don't go it alone. What you want to do is make sure that you have mentors, and I don't mean just mentors as in senior lawyers to talk to about the practice of law itself, but what I'm talking about is mentors in relation to the structure of the law practice itself. Now, whether that is a business consultant or whether that is you listening to or reading a bunch of business books or having a one-on-one business coach. The point is this, is that you want to make sure that you can learn from people who know what they're talking about. You might know a lot about family law or another area of law. That's great, but knowing about the law does not teach you how to run a business strategically. And if you're opening your own law practice, that is a business. So make sure that you don't go it alone. Get that support that you need. At Be the Best Divorce Lawyer, for example, we work with all kinds of lawyers from Ontario, the UK, other places where they are opening their own law practice. But again, getting that strategic support so that they do attract those great clients, that they are efficient, that they do have happy clients who then leave them Google reviews, who then become, they're not only their raving fans, but they become a source of new business because of those Google reviews. And then of course, finally, making sure that you take charge of your time powerfully. And that's part of what we share at the Be the Best Divorce Lawyer. We share those strategies with lawyers who are opening their own law practices. This is Val. Much love.
If you found this video helpful, and I hope you did,
please give it a thumbs up. Because if you do that, then this video will be able to reach more people. And as well, if you want to stay in closer touch with me, please ring the little bell icon so that you can subscribe to this channel. This is Val. Much, much love.